Okay, we're good.
Are we good? Okay, we're back up.
So with that, I was just going to clarify, if you look at the general plan information you've been provided, there's a little bit of a dichotomy, but it does lean the direction that Commissioner Herman is talking about. And that is that when you look at the definition of medium density residential, it again, I'm not trying to be persuasive one way or another other than to use the documentation we have, but the documentation seems to not be as in support. When you look at the definition of medium density residential, it doesn't look to be in support of apartments, at least at a medium density type of apartment use. Maybe a light density apartment use, it seems to be more supportive of. Now, if you look at that being said, some of the Area 7 language, it's not as clear. It just says that other multifamily options or other multifamily residential designations may be a good use or an alternative use for the mobile home park property in the future if the opportunity presented itself. That's what the general plan supports is other ideas. So it isn't really clearly that I can see in what I've provided in strong support of a higher density transition of apartment uses. So without saying too much more, I don't want to be persuading anyone, but that's what I interpret it when I read it, and that's what I've tried to provide in your packet so you can evaluate that.
I think with that, let's move to action item B and then have a discussion after Mike talks before we make a consideration. So action item B, consideration to forward recommendation to the City Council regarding a proposed rezone request from mobile home park recreational vehicle park zone RMH1 zoning to multiple family residential R4 zoning for property located at approximately 671 West, 4400 South, Riverdale, Utah, 84405, as requested by H&H 39th Street LLC. Do you have more to comment on that part, Mike?
Maybe just to follow up with how I presented the public hearing. I've already gone through most of the summary, but I do want to note a few things I wasn't able to get into the detail of. More specifically, you do have on page 17 a drawing of the plant area. As you can see, a portion of that rezone request does not include a small property to the east. You can see how it's omitted. That's the Garf property that has been discussed. And then with the application itself, remember there's 4 questions at the bottom of the application, A through D, that the applicants are required to answer. They have provided that, and that response is found on page 22. And there are a few comments from the public that were noted addressing that, so be sure you look at the applicants' responses and their intent that way as part of your analysis. Otherwise, as to the public hearing notice and the requirements, you can see on page 24, we have a checklist. We do this every time for consistency's sake to make sure that, again, we can show anybody who's questioning our process that we are complying with state code. We've met all the requirements required to advertise for these public hearings, and all those items have been met. And you have, following that, then the evidences of those items being met in fulfillment of state and city codes. Properties were signed, in fact, with 2 signs. State code only requires 1. We put 2 on the property, and have obviously advertised on our website as well as the newspaper, as well as on the public meeting notice website for the state of Utah. So we did evidence the public hearing in multiple places, as well as notified the property owner and the any of the affected entities in the form of utility services for the site of this request. So I just wanted to clarify that and make that known as a point of record for this meeting. But other than that, you've heard everything about this item in the previous discussion, and I would defer to your guidance and direction of any questions, comments, or other items you have from me or the applicant group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agate. If my computer dies, I'll jump over by Shaylee, but I have a cord on the way. Did we lose Mr. Steiner?
It does look that way, doesn't it?
Yep, he's gone. Do you want me to hurry and email him?
Would you please?
Chair Spires, it is possible that the call-in user may be representing H&H Group. I don't know who that individual is, but they may be also representing the H&H Group.
So if the call-in user can hear us, are you with H&H?
They're not muted.
What was
They're
that?
not muted. So
They're not muted.
No? Well,
Do we just proceed forward?
I don't know. What does Mr. Brooks think?
I mean, we have to be fair to both sides, so I think.
Should we table it?
Well, I'm giving a few minutes, we still.
I emailed him. It said it was delivered. But
Looks like he might be rebooting.
Yeah, it had a low bandwidth thing on it now.
Amy, you could probably open it up to the rest of the planning commission if anybody has any questions while we're sitting here.
Well, Mr. Brooks says we need to wait to be fair to all the parties.
If somebody brings something up that he can address, we need to make sure he's there, so.
If somebody brings up something that he can address, we need to make sure that he's there. Did he write back?
not yet.
Is he showing he's trying to log in?
No.
No.
Not that I can see. Mike, do you have his phone number? I can give him a call. If you want to text it to me.
Mike.
I don't know that I have, well, I may be in an email. Let me look 2 seconds.
You're good.
Oh,
If you just want to forward it to me, if you do have it, then I'll call him.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your patience.
He forwarded me. He forwarded it.
You-
He didn't answer.
Should we table this?
It's your call, but I would recommend you're gonna have to, I don't think we have a choice.
Hey, you guys, we can't get him back on the line and being that I think
Oh, he just
we
sent me
all.
a second phone number. Hold on. Mike just sent me another one.
Shaylee's trying again on another number, but we may need to table this for another meeting.
Open.
You guys want to, if we call for a motion, let's call for a motion to table this?
Do you want me to make a motion?
Go ahead, Blair.
I make a motion that we table the rezone request for the Leslie Mobile Home Park rezone from RMH1 to R4 by H&H Incorporated until we have a representative from H&H present.
I second it.
I would probably do is set it for a time certain, so you table it for a time certain, which would be your next meeting, so that everybody here knows that's gonna come back.
Do we need to state a timeline on that
Yeah.
tabling?
That's what Steve just said, so it would be for
Okay.
our next meeting, which would be,
April 13th.
Okay, amend that motion to the next planning commission of April 13th.
I second it.
Shaylee, will you poll the commission, please?
He just barely emailed me back saying he was trying to get in, but I just told him that it's been tabled because he said that he's gonna take a few more minutes. So
Oh, he emailed her back and said it was gonna take a few more minutes. So she told him we're tabling this.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Nye,
Aye.
Commissioner Spires,
Aye.
Commissioner DeMar,
Aye.
Commissioner Herman,
Aye.
Commissioner Wingfield,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
This won't come back until the April 13th meeting. 6:30. Any discretionary items?
I just want to say thank you for being here and participating in the public process. I appreciate your time and support of these discussions for our community. So thank you for all that you do as planning commissioners. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Want to
Mike.
make a motion we adjourn? Second.
All in favor?
Sorry, y'all.
All right, guys. Have a good night.